Wow. 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 That's all we got to say. I'm Chris LeBron. I'm with my guy Walker, off the Ball Network. We didn't plan this, but me and Walker were in the chat, and we were just like, we have to talk about this. It just have to talk about it. Walker, damn, we we we
Yeah,
we're witnessing history. The Celtics, obviously, they're forced a game seven. They're only the fourth NBA team in NBA history to force a game
and
seven.
the first one that'll ever have a game 7 at home of those
But it's
four.
one to have a and I think the first one that lost both games at home, the first two games at home,
Yeah,
do it to if I recall. No team has ever come back from 3-0 in NBA history. In baseball, we know what happened. I think hockey it's happened. I can't. I don't watch
yeah.
hockey like that, so I don't know who did it. But we all know the 0-4 Yankees were the last team, out of the big, teams to have blown a 3-0 lead. Uh, but we're on the verge of that. The Heat look like world beaters first three games, and then a switch. The Boston Celtics finally played like the better team in this series, and we have a game seven in Boston. What do you think the lines are going to be? What, eight and a
It's
half,
8.5. It's 8.5. It's already out.
8.5? Man, that might even. I know the money line's probably going to be
It's like minus 365.
yeah, and so that is wow, just a lot to digest and all that. But just your first thoughts on what the hell we just saw.
It didn't. So I mean, like I've been a doubter forever, like and just have continued like to just hey, this team's not actually good. Like I refuse to believe that they're good,
You
and
have been consistent with that. I can
I
admit.
have like even now here we are like in Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals. I'm like, dude, I'm just not very sure that this team is very good. Like, and I will say it didn't happen the way I thought it was going to happen. Like I
No.
really thought, Jimmy would basically be Jimmy. I didn't think he would be superstar and go crazy, but I just thought the role players would finally like go back to being role players, and that's not really
Mm-hmm.
what happened. They continued to just absolutely play their brains out, and quite frankly, the two guys who are supposed to carry the roster sold. Um, that's what happened. And I know Jimmy got a lot of late buckets and gave him the lead with 3 seconds left, but you have to ask yourself, like, are you in that situation if you're not 4 for 20 with less than a minute left? And
Yeah,
you're not so passive when you're getting like it was really irritating to watch him get Al Horford switched on to him time and time and then just like be passive and like throw the ball somewhere else and like just let someone else do it.
it was really weird seeing him how he was playing because he looked like he was afraid of the moment, which is kind of crazy for a guy that we've all said that we call him playoff Jimmy and how he takes it to a different level in the playoffs, but I don't remember a game where I saw a player of his caliber just like be so. It looked like so tentative to even, you know, have the ball in his hand. Like they,
And
they
do
were
you
playing
think
him. They were playing him as if he was shooting like Giannis.
yeah.
Like
Do you think that his first real like massive playoff run in the bubble with Miami when they got to the finals, do you think now home like or just environments maybe played a factor? And I'm not saying the bubble wasn't real hoops. I'm just saying
oh, of
like it
course,
is totally different like playing in those environments versus, you know, playing pickup ball because we all know like that's kind of his speed is like he would love to just get in a gym with 9 other guys and just, kill somebody. But
well, yeah, of course, yeah, because we heard the stories of Minnesota and him just killing with the second
yep.
and third units and all that. And maybe that was his, and maybe we have overrated this old, playoff Jimmy because he was so dominant in that first round against Milwaukee, and I think we just kind of just went with that. And then the Knicks series, he was good. He was
He was
good
fine,
against the
but they
Knicks,
didn't.
but he
Yeah, don't
wasn't.
take Knicks fans can't take this the wrong way, but he could have been below average, and they weren't going to win that series.
Yeah, just simply because we didn't do the little things to win that, but he didn't take over. And
Yeah.
then in this series, he had obviously they go out 3-0, but we have
He
to give
was
credit.
good. He was good, but not great for 3 games. And since game 3, he has been a ghost.
He's been ghost. Like we got to give credit to to Gabe Vincent and Max Struess and Caleb Martin. Listen, let's be real. This game is probably a real blowout for Boston if Caleb is not, doesn't have a 20 and 10
He's
game.
been playing like a playoff second option. Like, it's been insane.
At times he looks like he's the first option. Let's be real.
Even like there was a point where Spo was running plays for him and sticking Jimmy Butler in the corner and basically being like, you know what, man, you just stay over there. And when you decide to start playing, we'll let you have the ball again.
They were running plays for Duncan Robinson late in the game.
I know.
I'm saying that, and then I think I don't know if it was Reggie or Stan that said it, and he's like, they're running plays for Duncan Robinson, the guy who at one point was getting DMPs during the season and is not playing in the fourth quarter. They're running plays for him, not for Jimmy. Like,
I did think it was symbolic, though. I thought it was symbolic. Just the way this whole thing has happened, and I guess for me, this is the way I look at it because my brain's still probably a little bit warped and diluted. But I was just like, yeah, you know what? It really came down to the discussion and the discourse was, can Miami's role players keep playing like this? And the ball basically kicked to, it happened to be Duncan Robinson twice, but a role player with a wide open three and a chance to win the game, and both shots were off. And so, like, it just kind of was one of those things where, it shouldn't have had to be the role players that decided the game. But, Duncan Robinson misses 2 wide open threes in the last 60 seconds. Max Struess misses a block out at the end of the game.
Did you not get annoyed on the first wide open three? That the fact that, yes, I understand there's a lot of time, but this isn't practice where you have to dribble. Why didn't you just go up?
So I was actually about to say I was incredibly annoyed when he put the ball on the deck.
I was so annoyed. I'm like, why are you doing that? This isn't practice.
It never works that way. When you catch it and then you think about it, it never works out. Like,
no,
you don't put the ball on the deck. Or if you're putting the ball on the deck, it's almost like walk to it, not just for no reason. Like, you just put it on the deck to put it on the deck.
Yeah,
like there was no need. There was no need for that.
There was no one near you. So why I posted that. I'm like, why did he dribble? Why did he dribble? Like, just shoot it. Your feel that's your rhythm shoot. Why didn't you just go with that? Even if he made it,
the other one too.
No reason to do that, but
the other one too is Kyle Lowry was really bad.
Kyle Lowry is cooked.
He is, but we got some games there. God, man, I'm watching the replay on the TV right now. Struess got just totally caught ball watching. He was the closest he ever got to Derek White was like when he was finishing at the rim. Like, if you catch the replay on the TV, he just like wasn't even paying any attention. He was paying no attention to Derek White.
He was kind of jogging a little bit. Little bit.
Well, and Smart shooting the fadeaway three kind of screwed him up because he basically had to dance out of the way to make sure he didn't foul him. And then Derek White got loose.
And that's the little things. And with the Knicks, stuff like that is what killed them and why we're not playing in the conference finals. It's the little things. That's the difference between you going to the finals and you now having to go to a game 7, and now you're on the road and it's going to be hostile and the momentum has completely shifted.
Yep.
So that's and you would think with a Miami team, you would think those little things like the boxing out and all that stuff that they did against the Knicks they would do against a team like Boston who has a lot more players, better players and all, and it didn't happen. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy.
It was one of those things. I kept waiting on the Heat to just start missing threes, and like it's still crazy to me. Like, I think they shot. I've got the box somewhere right here. They still shot 47% from. They were 14 for 30 from three. They hit 14 threes. They were plus 21 from three against the Celtics, and they lost the game. I really just think it's symbolic, like how, this series has been so much about Boston giving stuff away. And they tried to do it again tonight. I mean, like, I think 8-point lead with less than 4 minutes to go, and they somehow blow it.
They're their own worst enemy.
I know.
Their own worst enemy. You have to, as as a player, coach, you have to look at this and be like, we probably should have beat these dudes in 4 or 5
And
easily.
like 3, and we should have had the starters out with 4 minutes left in game 4 or
But
game
just
5.
overall in the series, they forget the game, like the
I know.
series. Like you were the better team. Like you look at these last 3 games, you're like, we should have we dominated the last 2 games.
This is what's so
we should have won the
frustrating,
series
man.
with ease, like easily.
This is what's so frustrating because like we have this conversation and it's like this is why like and you hear me repeat this over and over again. College basketball now, even in the NBA, the best team doesn't always win. Like
Yeah.
it's almost the best team rarely wins. Like it's very very clear that not only is Miami not one of the 4 best teams in the league, but like there's no way that this series should have been competitive. But here we go to game 7 because Boston can't make up their minds as to whether or not they actually want to play next week. And that's really what it's kind of boiled down to. And I thought, and I said this after game 5, I really thought that even with everything going on, and even though I thought Boston was better, I thought Jimmy Butler would put it away tonight.
I thought so too.
I thought this was his moment to erase the last 2 games and solidify himself as like, hey, it's over. You can't guarantee victory and then play the way he played. He finished 5 for 21 from the field, and while
he guaranteed victory, that's the worst part. You guaranteed a dub, and you
said we will. You said we will win the next game. Period.
We will, and you show up and shoot 5 of 21, and it's a lot worse than the 24 point you're going to see on the
That's
stat
exactly
sheet.
what I was about to say. He had 24, 11, and 8.
It was not pretty at all. Like he got a lot of calls late with the free and got to the free throw line.
Literally half of his points were free throws.
Yeah,
I don't agree. I don't agree that Boston will beat themselves in Game 7. We've seen this spot before. I think that they know. I think they know deep down. I think they know deep down we got them. Like we got them
where they want them.
They told them at 3-0. They said don't let us get one, and then they got the first one, and they said don't let us get another one, and Miami let them get another one, and that's why like people kept trying to say like all the pressure is going to be on Boston because it's Game 6 and whatever, and they still. I disagreed. I thought all of the pressure here was on Miami. Like you have to close it in Game 6 because in this world, Boston came in feeling like almost like they were playing with house money, even with their season on the line. It's like we were down 3-0. Like we're not supposed to be here. Like this isn't supposed to be happening. We're supposed to have been eliminated already, but we're still here. So let's just make a run at this thing. And so they did. And now it's 3-3 going to Game 7 and probably going back. You're going to your home crowd. You've already lost 2 games at the crib, and so your antenna's up. You're not going back in where you're just kind of lackadaisical and not ready to play. Like your antenna's up. You've already lost 2 games at home, and you're thinking, we got them. Like we got them. We went to their place. We won again. We've got them. Got them. And so they're going to go back just like they did with Philly. And Philly was non-competitive from the jump in that Game 7. And I don't know. It's not going to be that bad because Miami is a more professional group, and they're more well coached. But Boston's not going to shoot 20% from 3 come day. They're not going to shoot. They're not going to do that again. So
they're big too, right?
I just don't know. Like your recipe has to be like you have to basically get like 40 plus from Jimmy Butler and like 20 plus from Bam, and your role guys probably have to still be good.
If you're Miami, there's a couple ways to look at it. Yeah, we just we're going to a Game 7, but you have to be you have to look at it.
Gonna be worth some money someday.
Maybe you have to look at it this way if you're Miami. If you want to look at it both ways, like this sucks. We just lost 3 in a row after being up 3-0, but we lost on a crazy shot with our 3 best scorers shooting. Let's see, Jimmy was 5 of 21. Adebayo was 4 of 16, and Gabe Vincent was 6 of 18. So our guys made 15 shots, and we lost by 1 on a crazy point 2 on the clock.
I mean, it was at the buzzer. I mean, it was literally he tipped it with 0.1.
Tipped it with 0.1. So 0.1 away, and we have maybe a different conversation with our three best scorers not doing anything. So you could look at that way.
27%. Those
It,
three guys got 27%.
and what helped them is the three ball. The three ball saved them. Bless you. The three ball saved them. If they weren't hitting threes earlier, with Duncan and Gabe and Caleb too. Caleb is, like I said, had a tremendous performance this game. They were
Just the
they
same,
would
really
have got blown out.
Yeah. See,
And
this
also
is what bothers
Boston,
me,
Boston
Jimmy's sitting in the post game press conference, kind of like laughing and giggling and stuff and smiling, and I just don't get it, man. Like,
I think
this is the side of Jimmy where if I'm a fan, I get angry because I'm like, you clearly don't understand the magnitude of the moment, and like he doesn't think about things the way we do. He thinks he's just going and basically like the point spread is 0. We're going in and it's a 50-50 game. And like that's not the reality in these things. Like that's just not the reality in these things. So that's my thing is like Jimmy can laugh and smile and all that stuff, but it's like, dude, you shot 5 for 21 tonight and needed a ton of free throws just to be even borderline impactful.
Yeah, I'm watching the presser now, and just there were a lot.
Don't even get me started on the officiating. They couldn't make up of their mind what they wanted to do.
I'm not going to get on the refs too much because I do know, like, I'll be cliche. I do know that it's tough to referee. I know I couldn't do it, but my goodness, some calls I'm just like, all right,
you have to make up your mind, man. I told someone, I got in an argument with someone, like we were talking about the Tatum carry, and I was like, dude,
if they never call a carry.
I was also like, if Spo's been complaining about that all game, the way that they just said, then you call Tatum for the carry with like 10 minutes left in the first quarter, and you say, hey man, this is the precedent tonight. This is the precedent. You don't wait until there's 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Call Tatum for a carry, which then turns into a Miami 3-pointer, and all of a sudden that place is bonkers. Like, you can't do like just stuff like that, man. You can't do like that. Jimmy Butler offensive foul didn't used to be an offensive foul. Like you're usually taught like, hey, if you get in that spot, you go straight up through somebody, like straight up through somebody. And he did that exactly, probably what he was taught. And there you go, gets an offensive foul, and they reviewed it for a flagrant. Tried to give him a flagrant, but it is what it is. Like he just simply has to be better. Like Bam has dropped enough duds offensively where I just kind of expect it in big games.
Yeah.
Jimmy just simply has to be better. And he just wasn't.
He hasn't had a great, I think he's shooting like around 40% from the field this series, or 41%, and then like probably low 30s from 3-point. And obviously he's not a 3-point shooter, so that's expected. But he has to be better. I mean, this is
just more aggressive. At least go down swinging, like.
But he didn't do that until the last few minutes of the game.
And that happened to be when they made their run, because he decided to start playing, and all of a sudden they make a run because Jimmy decided to start being aggressive. He got to the foul line, like made a 3. Also, I was really bothered. What was Al Horford doing on the last Miami possession? Like. Jimmy had no intention of shooting that ball, by the way. None. He was totally just jumping into someone, let me get to the foul line. He had no intention.
I don't understand what Halford was thinking.
No, like you have to have some basketball IQ where it's like, okay, Jimmy's running to the corner.
And he's a smart basketball player, right?
And it's like if I put my hands up as a 7 or as a 6'10" guy and he hits a fadeaway 3 falling out of bounds on the baseline to win the game, then you know what? I'm just gonna like that's life. But how you just are up in him and foul like that, no idea. Because Jimmy never had any intention of shooting the ball. He was just running around and then waiting, and it was running the clock down. And I was
running around hoping something happened.
No, and he was gonna jump into whoever was guarding him and try to draw a foul.
He had no
intention of taking it.
Because he knows he knows
because he knew he wasn't gonna hit it.
Because he can't hit a shot.
He knew he wasn't gonna hit it.
Yeah, he knows he's money from the free throw line. So
right, and he knew he had no he knew he wasn't hitting the shot because that's how the whole night had gone. And so he was like, you know what, I'm gonna run around and try to draw a foul. And credit to him, that's probably smart hoops. But Al can't. That just can't. That's the stuff with Boston you're talking about. Like it's the little things. This is why they don't win close games. They like they don't do the little things well. And it's kind of funny though. Like Miami finally slipped up and didn't do the little thing correctly, and they got beat. The only
Exactly.
player who is actually the only player who's actually been bred through winning culture on either team is the one who tipped the ball in and won the game. That's the only one that's accustomed to
Those
winning.
are the players that help you win chips, and he was a
I
big
said it
reason
the
why.
moment they got him, man. I said it the moment they got him. He's a winning player. That's just a winning basketball player, and he's probably not the 22, whatever he's averaging in points for this series, and shooting like 70% from three. But he's a
I feel
winning
like
player.
60% from three. It's crazy.
Yeah, he's a winning player. He makes winning basketball plays, and he's an awesome defender. He deserves a ton of credit for Jimmy's struggles tonight, as does Horford and as does Robert Williams and as does Tatum.
Yeah, they were hedging good. They were not going to allow Jimmy to
Horford
get that,
block, the
to get to
Horford
the free
block,
throw.
the
That
Horford
block,
block was insane.
that block might be the block that saves the season. Obviously the play at the end, but that block was crucial. Um,
I'm not acknowledging the comment about not standing a chance in the '90s or the early 2000s. That's just nonsense. That's so.
no, we're not going to go through that.
We're not doing that whole thing tonight. That's such a nonsensical take. There's no way you watched that game and came away with that.
Yeah, that's definitely not what I'm
That
thinking.
game was so physical tonight, man. That game
That
was
was
so
a
physical.
physical basketball game. And there's like but that's all narrative based when people do say that. I appreciate him commenting, but
I tell
Dustin,
people all the time, if you have that take, you mind before the
Dustin, I
game.
don't know how you come away watching that game and be like, they wouldn't stand a chance in the '90s. These guys are tougher than people give them credit for. But this game was a physical, hard-nosed game.
Yeah.
I don't.
At one point, Miami was 9 for 41 at the rim because of the physicality.
At the rim, yeah, they couldn't finish.
Because of the rim protection.
And that's the thing when you don't got guys. Like essentially, they got Jimmy who likes to get downhill and get to the bucket. No one else is really that type of player on their team, and I think that could be why we're here. Listen, I just did a show a few days. We did a show sometime last week, and we were like, "This is over." Like Miami got their heart. It just stole the soul out of Boston, and maybe they have a lot more than we thought. And it's just crazy because it's just like you just would see the way this series is played out, and you'd be like, yeah, like Boston has no heart. They didn't have no heart after game 3. It just looked like then you hear all the commotion. They don't like Joe Mazzulla. Like Mazzulla stuff is coming out. They're mad at Ime. You know how the Ime stuff and all this. The players don't like each other. Jalen stuff and all that. And now they're one game away from making history. That's why basketball is the greatest soap opera, because look at the drama we're getting. People thought we were going to get drama going into the finals. Guess what? We got a whole lot of drama now, because now the everything is flipped. Now Boston is going in at home. Yes, they struggle at home, but there's going to be a different type of atmosphere, a different type of feel for them than it was the first 2 games. And Miami is now like, oh my, like they can't play the 8 seed card no more, because you went through Milwaukee, you went through the Knicks, you were up 3-0 in this series, 3-0, and now you're a loss away from having the first team ever in NBA history to blow a 3-0 lead. Like you can't use I don't want to hear the excuses of, we were 8 seed. We're not supposed to. No, you can't play that card no more.
And you can't talk all that noise for 2 rounds about it. I don't want to hear
exactly.
Heat culture.
Well,
heat culture doesn't apply when we're an 8 seed.
Heat culture is in a stranglehold right now because they're one loss away from choking away a series that they should have won, dominated, especially how they looked the first 3 games. But in the NBA in a 7-game series, the best team usually, we usually see the best team win, and
Yep.
Boston just happened to just give them a 3-0 head start, and now they're showing why they were the better team, and it's just
Yeah.
it's really crazy how everything's coming to fruition, but they can't play this way and think they're gonna because this type of game and think they're gonna win. Because if they play this, we're gonna be in another close game.
I know.
Take the ISO ball, and we talked about it with Tatum and all. It's gotten, I think that hurt them this game. It hurt them because they were up 11, right? They were up 11 in this game, and it just is like, all right, guys, let's start shooting fadeaway threes and step back threes and side. It's like, guys, what are you doing? You should have won this game by 20.
Yep.
Easily. Walker, they should have won this by 20, 15, 20 points easily. They should have, like the way they dominated the previous 2 games, it should have been the case, but they just let the gas off the pedal, and they let, Miami was up by 1. They got up. This shouldn't be the case. This game should have been a blowout.
It's funny. The only time Tatum wanted to be really aggressive was when he had Jimmy Butler on him.
He was cooking Jimmy on both ends.
I know, and then in the second half, the times that he finally started going to the rim, because Jimmy got so bad. He was getting Jimmy so bad. Spo switched him off. Spo said, "Dude, you're done. Get off of him. Caleb's got him. You can't guard him. You're done."
Jimmy's angles are bad. I haven't seen Jimmy play this bad of defense in a long time. Long time.
He was getting, and it wasn't even like, there were some tough shots in there, but a lot of it was because he allowed Tatum to find that rhythm in the first half, because he was literally just blowing by for layups. Like blowing by.
He got a lot of his free throws early with Tatum, but then he reverts back to ISO Tatum and he did this in the regular season too, which is frustrating. Like when he was the MVP front runner, he was getting to the cup, and then he reverts back to his old ways, and then he falls off from the MVP, train, and gets plays still obviously all NBA and all that, but and this is why I get on Tatum. Like, I love Tatum. He went to Duke. I root for all my Duke guys. He's one of my players I love watching. But when everybody's saying that you're a superstar, right? You got to be able to take advantage of matchups and take over and not revert to ways that you used to. And that he keeps going back to that style, and it's just like, dude, you're on the verge of being a superstar. You're on the verge of maybe getting, winning a championship.
He's on the verge of being top 5 player in the league, undisputed. Because you're back-to-back All-NBA first teams with a finals MVP, like all that stuff that comes with it. The only thing you're missing is an MVP at that point. Like,
and then you finish top 4 in MVP. Who knows? He might win an MVP next year. Like, the sky's the limit for this kid. This kid. I'm calling him a kid, but like, he's still young, even though he's been in the league for since 18, right? 17, 18. Yeah. So you just, there's expectations, like people calling you a superstar and all that, and but he's got to be better late in games and all that. Like, to go that long of a stretch without having a bucket. What do you have? 27 in the first half.
He had 25 in the first half and like 29 or 31 for the game.
And then you finish with 31. Now you hit all your free, and he's a good free throw shooter. I want you to get to the free throw line. I know you went 15 times. A lot of that was in the first half. But when you're 0-8 from 3, why do you keep shooting threes?
Yeah.
Why don't you get into the basket, bro?
The Celtics are the ones too.
Jimmy Butler, you're taking him off the dribble. He cannot stop you, and you're just gonna settle for threes. Like, this game should have been a dominating win, and they're going home with 3 straight dominant wins. Now they won the game, but they should have lost. They should have lost it. Like, it was because of a crazy thing. So now you just don't want to give Miami any little bit of hope. Miami, then that's why we probably seeing Jimmy laughing and all, because they lost by 1. It was a crazy shot. A dominating win would have been a better look, but Tatum can't play the way he played this game, especially in the second half. If they
We'll say
want,
this: everything we've seen of this kid suggests that he's going to go nuts in Game 7.
and he could, because that's what he did in Game 7 versus the Sixers. He dropped 52.
Pretty much every big or elimination game he's ever had.
He's been good. He's been good, but he can't play like this though. Like if he, he cannot play like this and all that. And then they gotta, Jaylen Brown was good, but they missed all their threes. They didn't hit any three. That's what hurt them too. They didn't hit any threes, Boston. That's why this game was
really
close.
I think they only hit 7, and Marcus Smart hit 4 of them.
And their big two missed every damn 3-pointer. Literally.
That's why I keep saying, man, it's so abundantly clear how much better Boston is than Miami, because you have statistical anomalies like that where that just doesn't happen, and they still won the game.
All 12 between their two best players.
I don't think Horford hit one.
You also don't need Marcus Smart shooting 11 threes.
No. Marcus is one where he hits the first few and then he starts feeling himself a little bit.
And that could sometimes be the worst thing you want, because it's like, he's going to just start jacking threes, and it's like,
and that's what happened pretty much, because he was 4 for 6 and then he missed his last 5.
Yeah.
But I was looking to see. Yeah, I mean, Grant Williams 0 for 3, Brown 0 for 4, Horford 0 for 2, Tatum 0 for 8, Brown 0 for 4. Derek White and Marcus Smart hit the 7 threes. That was it.
Yeah.
They hit the 7 threes. That was.
Don't let us win one more game. It's crazy.
I know.
But that's true though. Like, if you're up 3-0, don't let a team win game 4. You got to close it out. Somehow, some way, figure a way to close that thing out. Because you can't give a team of Boston's caliber, who can rip off 4 in a row, because they've done it a million times and they went to the finals last year. You can't give them any hope. And I think Boston, especially at game 4 is good. Whatever happened, all right, they lose it, but not getting it done in game 5. I know Gabe was out. No, Gabe was out for game 6. Game 5. Yeah, he was out for game 5. So I don't know. I can't count out Miami, obviously, because this can easily go back to being the same caliber game, but man, just the momentum. Boston's going to be loud. I think if it's a case where if Boston gets up on them quick, I know Boston has blown leads, but it could be a case where if Boston's up 15 at the end of the first quarter, it might get ugly.
Yeah, it's one of those. Miami better hit some shots early, man, because
they got to hit the 3. Because listen, that's what kept them in this game. They shot 46% from 3 this game, while Boston shot 19-20%, whatever they shot, 20%. So they're gonna have to. Duncan's gonna have to hit threes. They're shooters. Duncan, Strus, Gabe have to hit the perimeter shots, because I don't know what Jimmy we're gonna get. Because obviously he's not a perimeter, but he's obviously got to play better. But they need, even if he plays good, they need their snipers. They need Duncan, Gabe, Strus to hit some shots, especially early, especially early on. But it's crazy.
This is weird, man. The two
21 and 15 for Caleb.
Yeah, man. That's just. I'll tell you what, man. Strus was basically unplayable tonight.
That's the thing, man. You get hot and cold, Max Strus, and then now you're gonna go on the road, and you know how with shooters, role players on the road. I want to see Strus's his stats and he's been awful. He hasn't been good this in this conference finals. He's been pretty pedestrian. He has been really good, and he's shooting.
I just don't understand. Like, how is Gabe Vincent playing 41 on a bum ankle and taking 18 shots?
Yeah, and there was a lot of times he's attacking the basket, and I'm like, what are you doing? You're like 6 foot nothing, and you have no bounce. What are you doing? You
I
know,
know.
I just didn't. I don't know. You know, I know they're limited roster wise. You know what they can throw out, but eventually, this whole heat culture thing, like you got to get guys who are athletic and like stop
But
relying
they
on
got
being cheap bastards
I
and get
know.
some to get some young fresh talent in here. Like you know, this run shouldn't stop them from being like, oh, this is the way to go. Like no, this is like you having a tremendous run that give you credit, but you guys need to get some real talent. When's the last time they had a first round pick that were like, this guy's,
Yeah, I
bam.
mean their first round pick from last year has not played a minute in the series.
Yeah, Jovic, he hasn't played and all that. And I thought he would be, you know, a player and all that. And, kudos to them for finding a lot of these undrafted guys. But eventually you got to find some serious talent that could,
I was
some
going to say
athletic.
that's cool and all, but we're gonna look back in a month once the season's over and everybody's kind of doing now that it's over, and we're gonna be like, man, that Heat team wasn't really very good.
They
They
just
weren't
got
very
hot.
good.
They got hot. And
It's just like that with every postseason,
you
man.
know it's crazy. I'm gonna look back as a Knicks fan, and I'm gonna rewatch the series, and I'm probably gonna be sick to my stomach and be like, "How the hell do we lose to these guys?" And Milwaukee fans are probably like, if we beat Miami, we're probably in the conference finals,
At
and
worst,
maybe in the finals at worst. The Knicks and the Bucks just got to be like, we lost to Miami. We're like those teams are better. I went into that Heat series thinking the Knicks are winning in 5. I thought that this was a bad matchup for Miami. Like the way we played against them in the regular season, especially the last time we played Miami, which was close to the end of the season. We contained Jimmy. We out rebounded them. I was like, if we do that, we're winning in 5. Especially after what we did to Cavs, and it's like a lot of Knicks fans are like, yo, wow, my goodness, like, but they got hot. They just did the little things and they won. But it's like, damn, they're not that. They're good, but like,
are they though?
no, I'm saying it was like they're good, but
They're about as good as Atlanta was.
it's like yeah. I mean, they lost to Atlanta, and that's what's mind boggling about their run is like it's hard to really explain. Like this team lost to Atlanta in the play-in game, the first play-in
Right.
game, and then almost lost to Chicago, who was bad all year. And it's just like, how did that team get to the conference finals? Sometimes it's just hard to just. And then they beat Milwaukee in 5. They were up 3-1 against us. They were up 3-0 against Boston. It's just like, how does this keep happening? And it's just like maybe that magic is gonna be gone. Maybe it was just like, all right, Boston just didn't play well and didn't do little things, and they just turned it on and be like, hey, we can't lose and we can't get swept. Like, and it's crazy how it flips from like we're talking about Missoula getting fired and all this, and now it's what happens to Miami if they lose? Because you got to question them like, hey, you guys, this hasn't happened ever in NBA history. It's never happened. So what the hell happened? Like, why did you guys blow it when you had their soul taken away? You win the first 2 games on the road. Like you should have had the series wrapped up. But even if you lost the last 2, you should have wrapped it up today. And it's just the little things. And that's why we're sitting here. Boston's a game away from getting to the NBA Finals, and that'll be a fun matchup. I'm not gonna talk about it yet because it ain't happened, but Boston versus Denver, maybe more compelling matchup.
Nuggets. I give Boston a puncher's chance. Miami, no shot.
Boston has a chance. They definitely have a chance. I don't think Miami had a chance against Denver. I don't think they had a shot in hell. Especially because Miami will go in wounded, even if let's say they do win Game 7. They're going in wounded. Like, who is Denver scared of Jimmy Butler?
No.
They have multiple guys that can even on switches
Also,
to
if you
defend.
really want to look at some scary stuff, like go look at what Nikola Jokic did to the
And I
Heat.
was going to say, like, I don't think Jokic is worried about Bam Adebayo to be.
No, but like go look at what he actually like physically did to them in the 2 regular season.
Oh no, yeah,
It
look
was
what he
like
did to AD.
it was
He
like
made
it
AD
was like
look like
50 it was like 50-point triple doubles.
Yeah.
He was just like
I'm
he
like,
fears nothing.
yeah,
Nothing
and
they can
when
do.
he did the AD, he put AD in a blender. I'm sure it would Bam Adebayo
all those cute little zones will have you running out the arena down by 40 against Denver.
And the way they made AD a rover. Like he was just running around and like that's what you want. And they made him look small. And I think that would be a sweep or a 5-game series in my opinion. But we'll see. We'll see if it's even
This isn't a Nugget show. This is a Nugget show, but Mike Malone so good.
We gotta give love to the Nuggets because what they've done.
Mike
I wasn't
Malone,
a believer. I wasn't a believer in the season with Denver, but as we got towards the end of the season, and I just saw the way they were playing beautiful basketball, and then going into the playoffs, I was like, this team can go to the finals. Like I had them. I know everyone picked them, the Suns, to win because they had Kevin Durant. I love Kevin Durant. I was like, this could go 5 games. Denver's going to destroy them, especially on the boards. Jokic is going to have a field day with 8, and they have no size, no bench, and it went that way. And then with the Lakers, I'm like, oh, that was another.
I was
5.
a believer. I was a believer once the roster got built because like they got the right kind of guys. Like you finally got like you literally got your KCP types. You got your Bruce Browns. Like you got guys that are legit defensive minded guys. Like
Gordon too. Aaron Gordon.
Like,
he's in
and
his
also I think too like once those guys came in and set a level of intensity, I think that some of the other guys kind of bought in, and like Jokic was better defensively in the Western Conference Finals than probably I've ever seen him.
He buys into that team defense like a pro. Like he's obviously going to get cooked on one-on-ones, but as a team defender, he's solid.
Yeah,
he's moving around, he's running around, putting his hands up. Yeah, he can't block a shot, but he's going to put his hands up and contest.
Yeah. Jamal Murray bought in defensively.
Jamal Murray bought it. I mean, those 10 times you saw the switches, like, and he's on LeBron, and he's not that he's stopping LeBron, but he's making LeBron work.
Tell you what, game on the line, game 4 on the road, and he tied him up.
He did. You're right. He did do that. And they got Michael Porter Jr. playing some defense.
Yep.
That guy was a turnstile.
And taking smarter shots.
Like he used to be an undisciplined, bad defender that was making max money, and he bought in. And I got to give him props because I was a doubter in him. That was probably the reason why I doubted them during the season, before late in the season, because of him. And he bought in. He played better defense, took better shots, and he hit some big shots. And he's hitting wide open threes. What I was thinking was he's gonna hit 5-6 threes a game. Yeah. And then you have Bruce Brown hitting a couple threes and all. It's going to be tough to beat them, either team. But it's going to be tough to beat Denver for whether it's Boston or Miami. Both teams are going to struggle with Boston, with Denver. But it's Denver's going to be the whole MVP stuff. Is Sky, was the reason why everything kind of took off. I feel like Jokic was like, you guys are talking about the wrong crap. I don't care. First of all, I don't even know if he knows where his MVP trophies are, probably. Like, everybody's talking about these stupid narratives, blah, 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 whatever. And he's just like, I don't care. That guy over there in Philly's crying about the MVP. Give it to him. Go give it to him. See what happens. Guess what? That man is bounced out and now that team's up in flames. Shout out to Mo. Speaking of Mo, where you at?
He's gone. Hey, he even said he sent us. I
Happy
don't care. I
birthday,
don't
by
care.
the
I
way.
don't care. It's my birthday. I don't.
First of all, happy birthday, Mo. It's officially your birthday. You know, I hope you're gonna probably need a few more shots because you're gonna be stressing before Monday. But happy birthday to the VP. Uh,
If
do you
Boston
think
completes a
do you
reverse sweep, will be fired.
No, he's not getting fired.
I don't think
He's a,
so.
he It would take they would need like 60 lost seasons consecutively to lose his job. Like he's a lifer. He's a pop. I think it's pop like he's there until things get
It's
if
also
it
not his
has to
fault.
get really bad.
It's also not his fault.
He maxed out. He maxed out this team. Maybe this is the fact that they've gotten this far is
This is just the league that we watch because we had people saying that like yesterday that outside of Phil Jackson, he was the most accomplished coach of the 2000s, which is bonkers, by the way.
outside of Phil.
And now
Outside of Phil Jackson, he's the most accomplished ever, or since 2000
of the 2000 just of the 2000s, which is
of
bonkers
this.
because um,
No, I would not say that.
no, and now here we are like 24 hours later. It's like, are we sure he's safe? Like, are we sure that we can't fire him?
All that I'm like, we're gonna fire him because I mean the Yankees didn't fire Joe Torre after they blew up 3-0 lead. Like we just don't fire him because of that. Like it's not his fault. His three best scorers didn't show up and made 12 shots.
It's also not his fault that his third best scorer on an actual good team is supposed to be a backup point guard.
And his second best player is Caleb Martin, who signed a 1-year deal. So like the fact that he's took this team this far is really impressive. Now it may look bad at the end because if they do both, it's a 3-0 lead you're blowing. So regardless, that's bad because it's never been done in NBA history. So it looks bad, but no, he's not getting fired. We can't fire Eric Spoelstra because
It would be awesome if they lost.
You should be looking at Pat Riley and be like, bro, like if I'm Spoelstra, I'm be like, dude, this is the roster you like. Look what I did with this. Look what I did with this. I went up 3-0 against Boston. And then like, you got to give me something here. I can't rely on Jimmy because Jimmy's just not that type of player that can just take over like that. Yeah, he has moments, but he's not that type of gifted scorer like that. If they do, the Raptors should take him. The Raptors, but if Spoelstra gets fired, I think we would see. I would fire Tibbs on the spot, and I'd be like, "You're coming here." A lot of teams would reconsider whatever options they have to try to get Spo.
The Knicks are playing Game 7 on Monday, maybe with Spo at the helm.
Oh, we're in the finals.
Maybe
we're in the finals with our roster. Spo. Oh, we're in the finals.
Yeah.
I might trade a pick to get him, but Pat Riley would never allow that. That with his how things ended with New York and then the bitterness there. But no, he's not getting fired. Even with the sweep, even if they lose by 50, he's not going to get fired. But if I'm him, I'm going to go to Pat and be like, hey, the free agents, these vet minimum free agents, it's cool, it's cute. Can you get me some hoopers that can finish the game? Like, because Jimmy Butler is scared to take 3-pointers unless Al Horford's on him and he gets to the foul line. Like, I can't rely on Bam Adebayo to be my second option and relying on Gabe Vincent and Max Strus and Caleb Martin to save the day. Undrafted free agents. I can't rely on that. I can't rely on Duncan Robinson, who I benched because he was garbage. He was garbage. And when I'm running plays for him because Jimmy's scared. Because Jimmy can't hit a perimeter shot.
Yep.
I can't. You can't go and as great as this run is. Even if Miami goes to the finals and they go 6 games, you still can't run it back. But the same, you gotta make massive upgrades. And this like you were an 8 seed still. Yes, you made a run, but you were an 8 seed that barely got in. So yeah, you could look at it the other like glass half full. Yeah, but we got to the conference finals. But if you look at the other side, it's like we barely made the playoffs. We barely made the playoffs. So like, yeah, we had a nice run. We got hot.
Had to dodge Chicago at home
We
in the
almost lost to
elimination
the
game.
Chicago
They were
Bulls.
almost in the lottery. Like they were almost watching lottery night. Like, hey man, maybe
They were in the lottery hoping that their pick somehow would fall
I
because it
know.
was I think top 6 protected, something like
Yeah.
that, and they won. It goes to 11. I think it went to 11. It went chalked up, but
Boston, not
Boston.
yeah.
I'm taking the points too. I'm taking
Yeah.
that 8.5,
That's 7.5 now.
7.5. I feel like that. I don't know. I feel like it's lockish too.
Yeah,
I feel like it's very lockish. I'm feeling very lockish. I know.
I'm gonna sleep on it and kind of see where it
I
goes.
gotta
But
figure it out. Yeah, I would have to sleep on it, but if you're
I
gonna
feel like Miami is only scoring like 80 points in
a
game.
gun to my head, I would take the points if you had to tell. I just feel like it's gonna be one of those games where Miami's beat up. Now they it could be a go other way, obviously, but just my gut right now is just Miami's beat up. I don't know if those threes are gonna hit the way they hit this game, and
They
I could
didn't
see
in
the
game
other way
5.
around where Boston's hitting threes, and it's just like an onslaught. Tatum's hitting threes, JB's hitting threes, Smart's gets to 3, 4 threes. Horford hits a couple corner threes, and it just gets out of hand. I could definitely see that happening.
It may go just like game 5, man, where you look up and you better get dinner early because you could do what I did and tune into game 5 at 7:35 and it's 15-5 Boston and the game's already over.
Yeah, especially if it's early. If Boston can get up early and put a stranglehold on this game early, I think it could get ugly. But if you're Miami, you have to hit perimeter shots. You have to hit. If you're not hitting shots the way you hit them today, I wouldn't expect Jimmy Butler to have another this bad of a game. So if even if he's 10% better and you hit threes, you're gonna stay in the game. But if you don't hit threes on the road and Jimmy is not Jimmy and he hasn't been Jimmy let's keep it a buck. He hasn't really been Jimmy Butler, playoff Jimmy. It could get ugly. It could get really ugly in Boston. And then, I wonder how the criticism will be if they do blow this. Because, like with the Yankees when they blew it, like obviously that was a different circumstances because they're going against their rivals, Boston Red Sox. They haven't won a championship since Babe Ruth, whenever. So it's a different circumstances. I don't know if they would. You think they would get killed as much as if they were the roles were reversed? If they were a higher seed?
Say that again.
Do you think that they're going to get killed as much as, let's say, if they were a higher seed? If this was, they were 1-2 seed and all that, and
No, because then I'm like no, because then there's a certain level that I can at least count on. Like if Miami plays a C- game, like they did in game 5, and Boston plays, if these two teams play at the same level, like both teams play a B- game, Boston's 15 points better. They just are. In Boston, they are. That is.
yeah, they are the better team. Boston is the better team. Then they're playing like the better team right now. You just have to hope if you're Miami that they look like the team, games 1 through 3, and you somehow, like I said, you hit the threes, and Jimmy is not being afraid because he looked afraid. Even his face, like, it looked like he was like, dude, is he feeling the pressure right now? Is he feeling the pressure that is like? And you got to give shout out to Missoula and the defense for containing him and not letting him go off and get to he got to the bucket. He got to the free throw line late, a lot, but for the most part, they contained him and all that. But
Because I think a lot of it with Jimmy was probably like, man, like, yeah, he drew a bunch of fouls at the end, but there was a stretch there where he was getting stuffed. Just time and again. And the other thing too is they finally stopped jumping on the pump fakes, and I think Jimmy was like, damn, like if I can't get people off the ground with the pump fakes, then I'm in trouble.
exactly. That pump fake is crucial in his game and allows him to, because
Because
he
he
has to.
can't. To be, let's be honest, man, he can't create
He
space.
can't. And I was just about to say he can't. He's not a true creator.
No,
Of
he can't create space, and so he's got to use that pump fake and get dudes off the ground to create open shots.
and I think that's the difference. They're just not biting for that.
And no, in Boston, I think went in and made a fundamental adjustment where it was like, hey, listen, we're just not going to jump at all with him. Like, we're just going to contest everything he does. We're going to stay on the ground. We're not going to jump. And he can't get open shots because he's not also like not an explosive leaper. Like
He's
he's
not an
like not
explosive
going to
player.
go and elevate over you in those situations and hit those just crazy tough shots.
Yeah, because for the most part, he hasn't gone to the line the way he usually goes to the line. You know, um, so that's where he does his damage. That's where he wants to get his points. He wants to be able to attack, do the pump, draw the foul, get to the free throw line so he can get those easy buckets. Because other than that, like you said, he's not someone who's gonna dominate you with his offensive creation. So don't allow him to do like whatever the Bucks did. Don't do that. And even the Knicks kind of didn't allow him to get to the free throw line that much. I think he had 4 or 5 double-digit free throw games, but it wasn't. It was like 10, 11. So they didn't really let him dominate to that extent. But
Jimmy Butler said, if I play better, we're not in this position.
what was that?
Jimmy Butler said, if I play better, we're not in this position.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, I was about to say, thanks, bud.
Captain Obvious there. Yeah, of course. You play like crap.
Yeah.
5 of 21.
Spoelstra said, I don't know how we're going to get this done, but we're going to go up there and get this done. I don't even know what that means.
I think
I think even he knows a little
he's
bit.
made 10 field goals the last 2 games.
Yeah.
I need more from you, Jimmy. I need more from you. The ankle is we don't even think about the ankle anymore, right? And I'm sure it's probably hurting. It's definitely affecting.
Everybody's hurting, man. Jaylen Brown's hurting too.
There's a bunch of guys hurt right now. You have teammates banged up.
Robert Williams had to go to the locker room during tonight. He came back and had an impact. Like Jaylen Brown's been hurt probably umpteen times in these playoffs. He's still having an impact and was pretty dominant in that first half. Like, there's other guys that are not going 5 for 21.
It's also hard for a player like that to take over constantly when you can't shoot threes
or create.
Because at least with Giannis, he can overpower you. He can overmatch you, right? Like, because it's sometimes Jimmy tries to play like Giannis, but he's not 6'11", 7 foot, and 245 pounds. And if you're that, you don't have to be a 3-point shooter because you could dominate in that way. Him not shooting, be able to shoot from the 3 is hurting him right now, because because especially defensively, I don't care. I'm gonna sag off a little bit. I'm good. We're gonna play drop coverage. I was like, all right, you hit a three, but he doesn't. It's not like he takes a lot, and he's only had, before this game, he had 1 3 since game 1, 1 3 made since game 1.
Yeah.
So he's not going to shoot it. He hasn't shown to shoot it. So why are we even playing man to man on him? Why are we on top of him?
Yeah. There's a lot of like this is fine energy going on Heat Twitter. Like,
no,
like, it's okay. We're gonna win Game 7. This is okay. It's okay.
Listen, you can win, but still, I'd be very worried because then like you're gonna go to a juggernaut against Denver, and they're fresh, and you guys are walking dead right now, and then you just almost blew a 3-0 lead. Good luck.
Yeah, imagine Jimmy Butler taking a 3-game nap in that series.
Yeah, you can't. Oh, you'll get swept.
You'll be home.
You'll be home. Playoff Jimmy will be home, but they got a lot to figure out.
I don't believe in playoff Jimmy. I don't think it's a real thing. I believe in bubble Jimmy.
I think it could be the case, especially if they lose, because he hasn't been playoff Jimmy for
No, man. He had the one game. He was
game one.
fine.
Was
He
game
was
one? He was playoff Jimmy.
right. He was fine in the Milwaukee series, or he was really good in the
He
Milwaukee
was
series.
good, but
And then he was fine in the. I was meant to say he was fine in the Knicks series. Like he wasn't great. He was just fine.
he
And
the,
then
the team beat us more than Jimmy.
right, exactly. And that's what I've been
Everybody
saying
took
the whole
shots.
postseason, man. It's not about Jimmy. Like it's like someone said to me the other day, was like, "Oh, well, Jimmy carried them to this conference finals." And I was like, "What the hell have you been watching, man? Like, that's not the case. Like, it's really not. Like, and this series is now like since Boston started winning, they've been competitive in spite of Jimmy.
No,
Like,
you're
in
right.
spite of Jimmy,
But
they've
their
been
role players, man, their role players stepped up. They shot the ball, like you said, Struce, Gabe, and all that. Like
like you
we were
can't watch
talking about
Caleb
Gabe
Martin.
Vincent.
Yeah, like you
We were
can't
talking
watch
about Gabe
Caleb
Vincent like
Martin.
they lost Michael Jordan,
Yeah,
for game five.
you can't watch Caleb Martin and then one of Duncan Robinson or Gabe Vincent combined for 50 on a given night and be like, God, thank God Jimmy carried us tonight.
Yeah.
Like
And Caleb's been really good.
he's
But
been like nonsensically good, man. Like he's shooting like
he's
70%
taking
from the
dudes off
field.
the dribble. He's shooting threes. You know, essentially they don't even. Kevin Love was playing a little bit, and
I think he was a DNP tonight.
he was a DMP tonight. You know, because Caleb stepped up. You know,
Yep.
Caleb's been really good, and I don't. Did he sign for a 1 year or did he sign a 2 year deal? But he made himself a lot of money if he is a free agent.
Yeah, I can't remember for sure.
But he's shooting 47% from three this series, and he's getting a lot of open looks too. Boston's gonna
He
have
was
to.
shooting. He was coming into the night. He for the entire postseason, he was shooting like 58% from the field and 42% from three, and it went up tonight.
Yeah, I mean he
So he's
saves.
shooting like 60. He's shooting like 60-45 for the.
He saved. I mean, and he's a solid defender too. So he's playing both sides.
I mean, it's not a coincidence that Tatum went from loud to quiet the moment they switched Caleb for Jimmy.
Playoff. I have to go playoff Caleb and all that.
I know,
Caleb was
yeah.
really good. Caleb's
Playoff
been
Caleb.
really good. He was,
We just be giving anybody those names now.
yeah. Well, if for Miami, they're gonna need playoff Jimmy to bounce back and get that because it might turn into pandemic Butler.
It's gonna
Pandemic
become yeah.
It's gonna get bad. Because Jimmy's been on the good side of NBA Twitter, if you want to say, for the most part. If you blow a 3-0 lead,
So
you're gonna know how LeBron feels and how Giannis felt losing to you guys, and Kevin Durant and Luka. You're gonna know Devin Booker. You know how those guys feel.
they're gonna add a second T into his last name.
Yeah, it's
Make him Jimmy Butler.
it's gonna be Butt.
I know, yeah.
We'll see what happens though. It's definitely something we haven't seen in ever. We've never seen this. I mean, 4 times a team has come back from 3-0 to force a game 7, but all of those 4 teams failed. Can Boston be the first team to win a 3-0 series in NBA history? It's going to be interesting to see what happens, man. But I felt like we had to talk about this. Appreciate anyone who hopped on the. We probably gotta do more late shows like this. This was actually cool and all that. Appreciate everyone who chimed in and all that. But we'll see what happens. I'm sure we'll do something before Game 7. I did that last podcast we did. We probably got to erase that one because different outlook on that with the Heat. Assuming that we assumed the Heat had Boston done and all with, but that's no longer the case. We have a Game 7 at the no, I'm not gonna say at the Garden, TD Garden, right? TD Garden,
Yeah.
their Garden. I refer to the
The
Garden,
Boston Garden.
the Boston Garden, TD Garden, whatever you want to call it, in Boston. We'll see if Miami has anything left in the tank. But
You know
uh,
that place is going to be absolutely hopping.
Robin,
That place is going to be absolutely hopping.
yeah,
It's going to be
it's going to be loud. It's going to be crazy. We'll see if
going to become the Memorial Day massacre.
it could be a tough Memorial Day weekend for Miami and Boston. Can they get back to the finals back to back years? As Denver awaits the winner of this, so we'll see what happens. But appreciate everyone tuned in. Make sure to follow Off the Ball Network, OTB_network on Twitter, Facebook. Send those stars on Facebook. We just got those. I don't know what those things mean, but it helps gives us some money and helps the network out, with website stuff and all the stuff we use to do these shows and all that. So send us some stars on Facebook. If you watch it on YouTube, make sure to leave a sub, like, comment, let us know how you're feeling about this series and all that. We'll probably do something soon. Enjoy your Memorial Day, Mo. I know you're watching. You probably got a drink in your hand. Enjoy your birthday, buddy. Heat culture. Love you, kid. All right. Take care, fellas and ladies.